Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Richard Wilmore.
Welcome to sit down, relax, sit down. Welcome to Make Your Day Richer. Get ready. It's time to talk about money, and I know that makes some of you nervous. It makes me nervous, but don't worry because my guest today is a financial expert dedicated to making the entire world of wealth and budgeting feel less intimidating. He's here to remind us that financial literacy isn't scary, it's just like learning a new language. And he's going to teach us the fundamentals, from how his own parents' contrasting approach to money shaped his passion to simple steps for taking control of your financial health. It's essential for everyone. This show is essential for everyone. Please help me welcome the incredible, the financial professional, Brenton Harrison. Hit it, Big Infinite.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
All right, Brenton, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I'm excited to talk to you because I think you are a professional and very knowledgeable in an area I know nothing about, and that would be money. How'd you get into this?
You know, I kind of stumbled into it. Not kind of, I definitely stumbled into it. When I was growing up, I kind of saw the two different ways that my parents managed money and tried to find the middle ground. My dad is a person who thinks that you can like outwork anything and just go earn more money, so there's no need to save it. My mom is the type that if she owes somebody a penny, she's stressed out. So I got a little bit of both of those. And the only thing I thought of when it came to managing money was just save as much of it as you can. But I didn't have much of an interest in like helping others manage their finances. That came because after I graduated from college, it was the Great Recession. Nobody was hiring. I had just left a job I hated in Florida and was looking for someone to hire me. And I stumbled into a life insurance sales office and they gave me a job on the spot. And I came home and told my dad, oh, I just killed the interview. They gave me a job that day. And he said, well, of course, they're not paying you anything. And, it was something that I wasn't expecting. But as I got exposed to beyond life insurance and investments and budgeting, you start to realize, oh man, this is something that I actually take an interest in. And it just grew from there.
So, when you were talking earlier about the difference in your parents, right? What are the things that I think I thought of when you brought up your dad was a lot of people talk about that money is just energy and that there. Can you talk a little bit about your thoughts on that? Because there is, I don't know, it feels like always, but maybe now more than most times, it feels like everyone's so afraid of how much things cost and how much we need to have in savings and all of these like things. And money is such a scary thing for so many people.
It is. And I think that part of why we exist is to try to make conversations about money more approachable because it is like learning another language. And if you had somebody and you dropped them into a different country and they didn't know the language, there's going to be some fear. They're going to walk gingerly up to a counter when it's time to buy something, right? Because they don't know the words. And I think that's the same way people approach money. It's, I don't know how this works. And instead of going into it with confidence, I'm either going to avoid going to buy something altogether, or I'm going to walk very gingerly up to that counter. And I think that that plays a role in not just how people learn or not learning about money, but also what they attract. So I am a person who believes that when you open your mind up to something, you start to notice things that were around you all along. And the more financially literate you become, you start to notice and take advantage of things that were there all along that can help you get a little bit better. But I think that you need like an outside perspective of someone to come and say, it's okay to ask this question. It's okay to reach out for help. It's okay to read this book and you don't understand how it works in the beginning, because at the end, you'll know a little bit more. And let's start there.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's afraid of money, afraid of talking about money, afraid of saying the obvious things, even when it comes down to how much people make. Like we're also afraid to. And I saw a meme the other day that was like, I hate going to work because it shows people that I need money. Like, it's like how desperate I am for money. And so many of us bar, right? Like no one wants to work, but we have to. And to have that money discussion, to start being open and honest about it, I think would make people feel so much better.
Oh, you'd be surprised. I've done this for over 15 years. And, there was a cruder way that people would tell you when you started. But when I first got in the industry, they would give you the warning. Like people will tell you the most intimate details of their life before they tell you what they make or what's in their bank
Mm-hmm.
account. So, you can just fill in the gaps for what those intimate details would be. But they would rather tell you that than say,
Yeah.
here's how much I save each month, or here's what my bank account looks like. So there does have to be a period where, like I said, you go to that person and you first, before you even get into the nitty gritty details, you establish that comfort level. So we've tried to do that with everything from the name of our firm to the name of our podcast. We want people to lean very heavily into there are safe spaces to not know. And the quicker you are in finding that safe space, the faster you'll learn.
Mm. Yeah, can you tell everybody about the work you do with New Money, New Problems?
Sure. So we intensely focus on first and second generation high income earners, not wealthy people. It's not like we're trying to turn away wealthy people, but we make our money each year by going to people who have never earned the amount of money that they're currently earning, and highly likely that nobody in their family has ever earned the type of money that they're ever earning. And when you're in that situation, it leads to different conversations and different problems. So if you're not first or second generation wealth, then you are first generation high income, and the person who didn't earn the high income before you is probably depending on you a bit financially, right? If you're first or second generation high income, whatever you're experiencing it for the first time. There's nobody that you've had to ask the question of, how did you navigate this when you went through it? So we try to be that source of information for someone who says, man, not only am I the first to go through this in my family, but I still have other family members depending on me. What does that mean for how I structure my finances?
And are you finding the people, or are people coming to you to get help? And then the next question is like, what's the threshold for that? If someone's out there listening and they're like, I need to talk to him, but maybe I don't make enough money, or maybe what are your kind of criteria for working with people?
Yeah, I'll back into the answer. The first part you asked was, how do we find these people? A good life lesson for me, which I didn't know until after I learned it, which is the way life lessons go, is the deeper you get into specifics, the more people are drawn to you. If I
Mhm.
tried to be the most general financial advisory firm and say, I'm Harrison Financial Services and I help everyone with money, it would probably be a little harder than it is. But when you're very specific and you go to a niche, then there's a lot more people. The deeper and narrower you get than you'd expect. So a lot of our people that come to us are referrals. They're referred from other people who have gone through similar problems. And what we try to do, to your question about minimums, we have annual minimums for people who want like an extensive list of services. We might charge $5,000 or $6,000 a year for that. But we also have people who pay us for one-off meetings, where if it's someone who doesn't have the ability to have that resource, we might charge them a couple $100s to sit down and go over their finances and give them a more limited scope of things we think would be helpful. But we try to make sure that there's like something out there for everyone. And if we're not that something, we keep a big list of people to whom we can refer to say, hey, you want more than we're able to give, but let's see what we can give, and then hand you off to someone we trust to kind of make up the gap.
Okay, cool. And what's the best way that people can connect with you then to do that?
So if you go to newmoneynewproblems.com, it will give you everything about our firm, from signing up to our newsletter, to listening to our podcast, to even the process of scheduling your first appointment. And that's the center of everything we do.
Okay, good. Let's transition to that podcast, New Money, New Problems podcast. Tell everybody what they're going to learn and find out on the podcast.
It's been very interesting. I'd be interested to hear your take on what podcasting and live broadcasts have meant to your life. But for me, I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I do. It's not easy, but every week, the question that I ask myself before we release an episode is, has anyone asked this question before? And did they get their answer? So if you're in a job and you are afraid to ask, how does equity compensation work? Or how do I handle conversations with my dad when he doesn't want to tell me if he's done his will? That's the basis of our podcast. So if you go and you look at the episodes, we try to structure them around those type of questions. Last week we asked the question, how do you decide how much to give to charity, right? I'm trying to save for my own retirement. I have to pay for my kids' schooling. I have these other responsibilities, but I still want to be a good person. So how do I figure out like how much is too much or how much is enough? So those are the types of weekly questions that we try to answer.
Okay, good. And you brought along a clip, so we'll play that and take a look.
Whether you're a single person and you're trying to make plans to do Friendsgivings or travel to see family, or you're a family and you're not only trying to do those things, but you're also trying to budget for gifts and things of that nature, the holidays can tear up your budget. And while you planning ahead doesn't necessarily mean that you won't be spending a tremendous amount of money, there are ways that you can optimize, right? Maybe you are going to take advantage of rewards points and miles. Maybe you set a limit for the amount that you're going to spend on gifts instead of spending in real time and being surprised at what you spent and your spouse spent, things of that nature. It's not meaning that you're going to live on beans and rice. I'm not a big fan of you staying home while your family are 2 states away having Thanksgiving together, because money's to be made, it's to be saved, but it's also to be enjoyed. And there's data that shows that people regret their expenditures the least when they spend it on experiences and community.
What days does it come out? How often? Every week, and what day?
Every Friday at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm not sitting there pressing play at 5 a.m., but that's when it's loaded up to be released.
Okay, good. You also have a podcast, right? A bi-weekly podcast on student loans.
I do. So we have the bi-weekly Escape Student Loan Debt podcast, and that was something that grew out of the initial mission of let's find the information that people aren't getting. So when we looked at the financial advisory space, there's a lot of firms out there who specialize in people who are already wealthy. There's a lot of firms out there who specialize in people who, even if they're not already wealthy, they're saving a whole lot of money. There's not a lot of firms out there that specialize in helping people that have $100, $200, $300, $500,000 in student loans. So we started working, this is years ago, with local medical schools and dental schools in the Nashville area. And I would do the financial literacy sessions for their graduating seniors. And when I was doing these sessions, you come in talking about budgeting and all they want to talk about is student loans. So I just threw myself into the deep end when it came to federal and private student loans and developed an expertise in it. So we have the bi-weekly Escape Student Loan Debt podcast where we teach people just information about how to manage a mountain of federal and private student loan debt.
This is my favorite podcast of yours because I'm 41 and I was not a medical major. I was a theater major and I still have student loan debt. So it is debilitating, as you know, sometimes. And so I love everything I'm learning on that podcast. Is there like, from either of your podcasts, or maybe both, one from each, like one thing that maybe people can start today or think about today when it comes to either of those topics?
So when it comes to student loan debt in particular, it's very important that you take time to understand terminology and also control. Terminology is important because there's a whole lot of language with student loan debt that's only relevant to student loan debt and doesn't make sense when you like compare it to the way the rest of the world works. So for example, with federal student loans, if you hear the word consolidate outside of the realm of student loans, you're thinking you're taking more than one thing and you're putting it together, right? But with federal student loans, you can consolidate one loan. That makes no sense, but it's something that you need to understand in terms of like the terminology and the structure of federal student loans. But you also need to understand when you look at things in the news, power and control. So there are several things where when you're looking at what's going on in the news cycle or what's going on in the courts, you have to have an understanding of, did Congress create this or did the Department of Education create this? And when you understand that framework and what it means, it will give you a good idea of where certain things are headed. So that's what I would say for student loans. When it comes to general finances, it is the power of being willing to ask questions. Because when I look at some of the most damaging financial things that have happened in the lives of people that I've been close to, they often center on information that the person could have had if only they asked. And because they didn't ask, there's been a devastating effect.
What do you love most about your life right now? You've helped so many people. You're giving away so much information. What do you love about everything right now?
This, I don't know if you'd call it like childhood lessons or childhood trauma, but I am, it can't be trauma because it comes from a good place. I think my dad and my mom are really impactful people in our local community, whether professionally or even church life and things of that nature. And I remember being younger and thinking, I will never make as big of an impact as these two people, right? And it was something that I kind of just, you make an effort, but in the back of your mind, you're like, I'll never be able to make the impact in the community or in the church or at work that these two people have made. And being able, even at a smaller scale, or maybe not a smaller scale, to have people come to you and say, you touched my life in this way when you said this, or man, you spoke to me in such a way that made me more comfortable than I've ever been when it comes to money. It makes an impact. And I didn't know that I would have those opportunities when I started this career, because I did just walk into that office wanting somebody to hire me. But now being able to go to retirement parties of clients, and even in rough moments where you have a client pass, be able to deliver a life insurance policy that client signed up for, they're meaningful moments that I take with me.
Tell everybody again where they can connect with you.
newmoneynewproblems.com. So whether you're interested in new money, new problems or escape student loan debt, you can find information on both resources on that one site.
Okay, good. Before we head out today, will you play a game with me?
Sure.
Okay, good. This is no pressure at all. And you should get it. The game is called Spend, Save, or Send. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to give you some scenarios, and then you get to decide if you're going to spend it, save it, or send it. And I'll give you options for each of those, okay?
Send it to whom?
Well, I'll tell you. I will tell you. You have options
Right.
of which one you do with all this. And if you win, no pressure, but the entire non-existent studio audience gets a Gorilla HR travel mug if you win the game, okay?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Question number 1. You get a $2,000 surprise bonus. What's your move? Do you spend it by treating yourself? Do you save it, emergency funding or investing? Or do you send a sibling some help with their rent?
I'd probably split it between all three things, but I would definitely save first.
Okay, perfect. Number 2, you inherit $10,000, but you must use it within 30 days. Do you spend it and go on a dream vacation, save it by paying down student loans, or send it to a cause that has helped shape you?
Save it.
I feel like that's going to be all your answers for these. Okay. Number 3, you win $500 a month for a year. What's your recurring plan? Monthly self-care, you're going to spend it, monthly self-care. You're going to save it in your Roth IRA plan, or you're going to support a parent's groceries and send it to them.
Parents' groceries.
Oh, look at that. Every month? That's so nice. Okay, final question. You're gifted $5,000, but you must use it to make someone else's life better. Do you buy them something, invest for their future, or pay off their debt?
Pay off their debt.
There you go. Those are all good answers. Bonus question. You get $100,000, but you have to divide it between spend, save, and send. What's your breakdown of the $100,000?
I would send 15,000.
Okay.
I would spend 35,000 and I'd save 50.
Okay, perfect. I love it. Great answers. Everybody in the non-existent studio audience, thanks to Gorilla HR, gets a travel mug. And I appreciate it, Brendan, for you being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Come back anytime. And thank you for all that you do for people and the wisdom you share.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll take a break and be right back after this. Don't go away. I believe in the power of learning, and so does Smart Deal Academy. This incredible nonprofit serving the greater Charlotte area is changing lives through personalized tutoring, homeschool teaching, and enrichment classes for students of all ages. From pre-K phonics to private music and Spanish lessons, Smart Deal creates a safe, joyful space where kids grow in confidence and curiosity. This work only happens because of generous donations from those who believe every student deserves a chance to thrive. Every dollar fuels one-on-one support, creative programming, and the kind of encouragement that sticks with a child for life. Be a part of that impact by visiting smartdeal.com and make a tax-deductible donation today. Let's build a brighter future together. Welcome back, everyone. On tomorrow's show, Christina Braver is here. There's going to be some sex talk tomorrow, so I'm just throwing it out there, okay? Go make your day richer. Go make somebody else's day richer. You've made mine by watching this show, and I love you for it. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.